Thank you for attending my PowerPoint presentation on how hobbies die. We are going to be exploring how a hobby, just like anything else good in your life, presents itself, gets to its prime, and dies. Let's redo it. We're going to be exploring how hobbies, just like anything else good in your life, comes in, gets to its prime, and struggles to survive. Not good either. Okay, unlike my last four drafts for this video, this is not an eulogy, thank God. This is rather an introspective video where I put forward my perspective. Along the way, we're also going to be meeting the disease that puts our hobbies in the ICU. I have a weird feeling that you guys already know what that disease is. And we're going to be performing an autopsy on one of the hobbies that have succumbed to this disease, or rather a combination of this disease and several other factors that we'll be discussing later on. And figure out why yours probably won't suffer the same fate. So let's start with a question so basic it sounds stupid. What is a hobby? A hobby is something that you do for no reason. In my perspective, that is the whole definition of it. Most often, it doesn't feed you, it doesn't pay you, and it will never appear on your resume unless you're very brave, or unless it's like 2015. And as an ex-job maxer, I have seen a lot of resumes that have that. It is your time, money, and free will purely set on fire because the fire is pretty. And that is exactly why hobbies are one of the best things
a human being can have.
because a hobby is proof that your life has margin in it. Your job gets your weekdays, your responsibility gets your evenings, and your hobby gets whatever's left or whatever's in between. And somehow that leftover sliver is where most of us actually live. A break from the grind, a relaxing corner, a corner made for you, by you, with your interests, with your time. And it is something that often represents who you really are on the inside. And I know that you know the feeling when you start one of the greatest legal highs available to mankind. The first week of a hobby is just unmatched. It's like hitting that self awareness when you're a toddler. It's like finally being able to ride that bicycle when you were a child. You're watching beginner videos at 2 a.m., you've joined a subreddit for it, and you're also telling everybody about it who did not ask. And the most beautiful thing is, there is a version of this feeling at every budget. Walking is a hobby, trekking is a hobby, bird watching is a hobby, and the birds are free. They're just out there. Not the binoculars though. This video is not about cost of a hobby. I mean it is, but not for those hobbies. Learning how to draw costs a pencil. If you have $12 and a gym membership, there's a hobby for you that can carve you a magnificent physique. The point is, hobbies love you back, unlike your job. But today we're going to be talking about a very specific genus of hobby, the pseudo collectibles. Trading card games, Beyblade, Bakugan, anime figures, One Piece merch, model kits, the entire, it's a toy, but it's also a display piece. But I also technically play with it. Family. These hobbies live in a weird middle zone. These are not supposed to be rich hobbies. I mean, technically, if you collect watches, they kind of fall into this, but again, you don't play with your watches. I mean, nobody's mortgaging their house to buy a Beyblade. At least I hope not, considering the current scenario. I mean, we are not out here collecting yachts, sadly. But they're not free either. Every purchase is small enough to feel harmless, and yet large enough to add up over time that may make your parents, partners, or kids, or friends feel disappointed in your financial decision making. And this hobby is structured so that there's always that next purchase, that next itch. There's always a new set, a new wave. People collect plushies too. Death by 1,000 credit card cut. Which is why I want you all to sit on this for a second. Because it's the emotional core of this whole video. If you can participate in one of these hobbies at all, you are lucky. For a huge chunk of the fandom, this stuff is not pocket change. It's the ETB or the booster box you budgeted for, the birthday money, or the I've been doing great, hence I've earned this purchase. Most people in these communities are not whales. They are regular people carefully rationing out their joy in $20 and $30 increments. And the collection on their shelf isn't a display of wealth. It's a display of months and months of hard work, time, and money they have put into this hobby. Expanding this IP for plastic spinning toys or cardboard cards and helping them become the giant behemoths that they are today. Every single piece up on that shelf is a small decision to choose delight over practicality, to live rather than just survive, which I cannot stress this enough is entire point of being alive. Now, a healthy hobby with a great community does not stay small, it gets popular. It slowly gets to its prime, where everybody loves it, everybody wants to have it, everybody is talking about it, where everybody shows it off, discusses about it, and it makes everybody bond, but it still needs to grow more. What does it need, Mr. Executive? New anime season, viral videos on social media, tournaments with actual attendance, product on actual shelves. And once enough people love the thing, a second hobby spontaneously generates inside the first one, like a hermit crab moving into a shell, collecting. It's no longer just about battling the spinning tops or playing with the cards. It's no longer about the competitiveness or understanding the rules. It now transitions to just having them. The rare ones, the old ones, the one from a 2003 Japanese magazine that exists in quantities of roughly 300 on the entire planet. And to be clear, this stage is still innocent. Collecting something scratches an itch in the A-brain, and completing that collection scratches an itch even deeper. And there is nothing morally wrong with any of it. But the moment a hobby has collectors, it has a demand of specific items at any price. And the moment any prize and collectible hobby exist in the same sentence, the hobby has accidentally built an economy. Stamps, Beyblades, Pokemon cards, plastic toys, figurines. There was no vote on this, by the way. Now there are prize guides, sealed in box becomes a personality trait. Somebody somewhere is grading something, and this economy on its own becomes a smoke signal. And this smoke signal attracts a certain kind of guy. Enter the scalper. And let's be precise because definitions matter. A scalper is not a collector selling duplicates. And he's not your local shop. A scalper is a middleman nobody asked for, whose entire business model is to stand between you and the toy aisle. He does not love the hobby. He could not tell you what the thing he's selling does. The only thing he knows that the collectible you're holding has a number next to it on a website. And that is the only statistics he will always care about. He is like a tapeworm with a shipping label and a receipt printer. And this is the guy at large who's ruining the hobby, not on hypothetical speculation. In Pokemon, resellers have gone as far as registering fake storefronts right in front of actual Targets or other stores from what I've seen to hijack the product allocations meant for actual game stores, to the point where real hobby shops couldn't get enough supply to even run their tournaments. In 2021, it got so feral that major retailers temporarily pulled Pokemon cards off the shelves entirely because grown adults were physically fighting over them in the aisle. And in our own backyard, Beyblade X got hit so hard that Takara Tomy, a Japanese corporation, an entity that communicates exclusively in polite silence, issued a public apology for shortages. While the lottery exclusives that went for about $35 to $70 were being flipped for over 400. That is not a market. That is a mugging with a tracking number and a receipt. And here's where it connects back to your collection made of months and months of hard work. This is where the frustration stops being about money and starts being about dignity. The average person in this hobby was already stretching their dollars to be here. Their budget may have exactly had one product in it, but the scalper does not care about the average hobby enjoyer. He cares about that one individual, that one guy who can give this scalper the profit he seeks. The whale, because the whale doesn't care. Triple price is just a rounding error to him. Scalping is a machine that finds the most financially careful members of a community and punishes them specifically. So when a grown adult is genuinely furious about a children's toy, understand that they're not mourning $30. They're watching that one peaceful corner of their life where money was not supposed to matter get converted into another place where it's all that matters. That's why it stings. Real quick plea for subscription here. So I hope you like what you're seeing and I hope you scribble. Moving on. Now here's where I have to be honest with you on a little something. I poked my little research bear and it slapped me back. The scalper is not the one who actually kills the hobbies. I wanted him to be the villain too, but what the scalper actually kills is more specific and honestly more evil. He kills the door front, the entry point, the gateway to the hobby. The kid who walks into a store sees an empty shelf where a product designed for him used to be and walks out forever. He kills the local shop that cannot stock product or run events. He kills the mood because every conversation just becomes prices, restocks, or which store got hit this week. And misery is not a fun thing to latch on for even a small amount of time. The scalper is not the one stabbing the hobby in the heart. He just cuts off the oxygen and waits for the community to smother itself. So what actually kills a hobby? For that, we have to go to the morgue or the landfill, where we have a confirmed kill in the modern collecting history, the Beanie Babies. In the late 90s, these $5 beanbags became a national delusion for USA, not for us, because I was not in USA at that time. We had different delusions. At the absolute peak of this delusion, roughly 2/3 of American households owned at least one. People were not buying them to enjoy them, they were buying them as an investment. One man famously spent over $100,000 on 20,000 Beanie Babies to fund his kids' college tuition. What happened? Then the hoarders just got tired of hoarding, started dumping their stashes. The market collapsed, and today those investment-grade toys are worth about 50 cents each. And here's the part that matters for us. Beanie Babies didn't die because scalpers invaded the hobby. Beanie Babies died because everyone in the hobby became the scalper. There was no game underneath, no battles, no decks, no play. Nothing to do with a Beanie Baby except hope for a future where a stranger pays you more for it than what you did. It was pure speculation all the way down, and when speculation left, there was nothing underneath to catch it. That is, the actual cost written on the death certificate for Beanie Baby. A hobby doesn't die when scalpers show up. A hobby dies when enjoying it is fully replaced by investing in it, which is also why there's hope. And the sneaker world proved it. Sneakers went through the most industrialized scalping era of any hobby ever. Bots, backdoors, triple price flips, the entire apparatus. And then the market flipped, supply caught up. Resale premiums collapsed. And you know who got wiped out? Not the hobby, the scalpers. Guys sitting on garages full of shoes nobody wants, selling to each other at a loss, posting priced to move into the void. Because it turns out the parasite needs the host way more than the host needs the parasite. The host never wants the parasite. People still love shoes. People still wear shoes. The hobby walked out of that era on its own to shoes. The same pattern is playing out right now. Pokemon responded to its crisis by printing a genuinely comedic amount of cards. 10 billion if I remember correctly. Plus reprints, anti-bot measures, and a whatnot ban soon incoming. And Takara Tomy has pledged to crank Beyblade production for exactly the same reason. Supply is the sunlight, and scalpers are the mold. And while that sunlight takes some time to kill the mold, here's what you can do to play your part in this. Rule 1. Never buy at the spike, because a scalper's only weapon is your fear of missing out. And restocks, reprints, and remakes are real. The last chance listing has been someone's last chance for 11 months. Rule 2. Buy from actual stores, the actual hobbyists. Keep your money circulating among the people who love the thing that you love too. Rule 3. Know what things cost at retail, because scalpers feed exclusively on people who do not. Which, as of this video, is no longer you. I hope so. Rule 4. Do not become him. Do not become a goddamn scalper. The day you buy the second one of something, thinking to yourself, just in case it goes up, is the day the tapeworm hatches, and nobody ever thinks they're the tapeworm. That is the Beanie Baby path, and we have seen where it ends. 50 cents. And rule 5, the most important one, is play with your toys. Rip the box. Launch that Beyblade. Sleeve that card and shuffle it. Every item that actually gets used is permanently removed from the speculation economy. And it is the most Superman thing you can do in a modern hobby. I am genuinely not worried about the supply shock that Beyblade X is facing right now. I just stumbled upon this hobby. Again. And it's the same force that got most of us here in the first place. Nostalgia. Hobbies like this don't just have players, they have generations. The kids who spent the early 2000s ripping launchers into a plastic stadium grew up, got jobs, got disposable income, came back. And that's not a bug in the system, that is the life cycle of a hobby. Beyblade X isn't big despite the fact that we are all 30 now. It's big because we are all 30 now. Standing in that toy aisle, feeling something about it. Pokemon has done this 3 separate times. Every generation that ages out eventually comes back in, bringing out their new big fat wallets, their kids, and their unfinished childhood business with the hobby. Companies have realized this too. And every time they do, the hobby gets a fresh transfusion of exactly what the scalpers cannot manufacture. People who are here because they love it. A hobby with that kind of renewable fuel does not die. It hibernates at worst. The scalpers are just the season. The love is the climate, and I would say the nature overall. Before we all hold our hands and spin our little tops into the sunset, I need you to look back at this presentation and notice something. The empty shelves, the demand exceeding expectations, the lottery exclusives, the chase rarities, the limited runs. The scalper didn't invent scarcity. He just showed up to a scarcity that somebody else designed on purpose with a marketing budget, which raises a very uncomfortable question that this video is already too long to answer. What do you call it when the scalper's business partner is the company that makes the toys, inadvertently fueling the fear of missing out inside the hobby? That's for next time when we learn about how corporations learn to scalp their own fans legally with a smile. Mostly I'm gonna be going on Game Scalp. The other two were just bait. Ending on, hobbies are resilient, scalpers are seasonal, and you should absolutely outclass them. I'm out here copying Dota 2 PowerPoints again, so that's why here's my personal note. A hobby doesn't die when the shelves go empty, it dies when the last person stops playing. So simply refuse to stop. Good luck, have fun.